Welcome to Tutor Boot, where each week I'm joined by thought leaders to talk about news related to the world of work. We toot what we like and boot what we don't like. I'm your host, Stacey Nordwall, and I'm a world of work nerd with about 20 years experience in HR and ops, mostly building people functions from the ground up at early stage tech companies. I am very pleased to be joined today by Jessica Winder and Kim Rohrer. Welcome to both of
Woohoo!
you. I'm so
Part of
excited you are
time.
here. I have, for folks who haven't met you before, it would be great if you could tell them a little bit about yourselves. Jessica, I'll start with you.
Perfect. So I am the Chief People Officer at Winder Law. I also run my own career coaching, which is Hidden Gym Career Coaching. And then I have a book called The Hidden Gym Within. I think I'm most known for my burn it all down mentality. I talk a lot about good trouble and what HR needs to really be doing to make an impact on employees. And then besides that, I'm a double twin mom. So that's what I'm known for now too.
You are sort of known for that now. And I love that.
Yeah, I always love seeing the updates because also I'm just like, I do not know how you do it. And you post a lot about how you do it, which is with,
Yeah,
a lot of support
a
from
lot of help.
family and all of that. Yeah, but I'm still like, no, I still don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
Same.
You're doing a lot.
Thank you.
Kim, why don't you tell folks about yourself?
Who are you?
Who are you,
Um,
Kim?
I'm Kim. I, like Stacey, have close to 20 years now of early stage startup people team building experience. Feels like it's one of those if you know, you know situations. So I've done every HR job under the sun and other departments' jobs as well. Um, and these days I am mostly consulting. I say it's fractional freelance and occasionally full-time work in HR strategy and storytelling. So internal comms and employee experience are my sweet spots in the HR space. And I've been doing a lot of consulting lately on internal communications and employee journey mapping and executive ghostwriting. Um, I am a writer outside of my HR life as well. I have a newsletter on Substack called I Care Too Much, and it's at the intersection of caregiving and workplace culture and general culture. Uh, I have two kids, and that is enough for me in my house. Um, and yeah, that's I was I wasn't gonna mention this on the podcast, but why not? I just chaperoned a third grade field trip today. That's my big news. Uh, and my big news of the
Was it
day.
like chaperoning CEOs? Just gonna say
It
it.
honestly, there are so a company that I co-founded years ago, part of what we did at 10 Lab was working with companies to understand how parenting makes you a better leader.
Mm.
And I see it when you're chaperoning a field trip, man. You're like, this is herding cats in the same way that I was like herding 20 somethings and they all eat goldfish. There's a snacks Venn diagram that is a circle.
You know how to deal with big emotions, as you were
Yeah.
saying beforehand. Yeah,
Big feelings, people who don't listen to you, trying to get them to do things and go places they don't want to go or do, and making sure they have lots of snacks. That describes like the first half of my
100%
career.
HR.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same skills.
amazing. All right. Well, yes. So this is why this energy, all of this is exactly why I'm so excited to have you all to here for this conversation. And I know that both of you are super dialed into what's happening within, a variety of different orgs with all of the experience that you have. And you're paying attention to the things that are happening within the labor market. So I'm excited to get your insight on today's topic, which is what's going on with the CEOs. The CEOs are not okay.
Is going on with them?
According to new data from Challenger, Gray, and Christmas, more than 1,350 CEOs have exited US companies so far in 2025. That's the highest number since they began tracking in 2002. The reasons given for the exits: volunteering to step down. That's kind of like quote unquote, what does that actually mean?
Hmm.
Retiring, pursuing new opportunities, sometimes no reason given. And underneath that, there's also a clearer pattern that's emerging, which is that these CEOs are having shorter tenures. Um, we're seeing more interim appointments and just generally more instability at the top.
Mm-hmm.
The average CEO tenure has dropped by a year or two, and the age of those leaving has actually risen, which suggests that some of the older leaders are like, nah, I'm out of here. I'm not going to go through this volatile, deuces.
Yep. Yep.
Not about it in this political and economic
In this economy,
in
no.
this economy. No, bye. I'll take that severance pack, or I'll take that package, right?
Packet, yeah, yep.
And then there's also an equity angle here. Challenger found that the rate of women being appointed CEO has dropped to 25%, which is the lowest since 2020. And also, more women are leaving the role than last year. So, along with that, we're seeing a lot more interim appointments for CEOs, especially in nonprofits, healthcare, and entertainment. So, Fortune is starting to call this, Fortune magazine, the quote unquote CEO gig economy, because there are more of these interim CEOs stepping in and then just piecing out.
Mm-hmm.
So in general, this is kind of raising some questions about, okay, are companies pulling back on their commitment to diversity? Is this possibly setting up a kind of glass cliff scenario for women where they are brought in during times of crisis? They're not really given resources and support. Then they're blamed when things don't go well. And then on top of all of that, for the employees that are at the companies, what does this mean when they're having this change, this kind of consistently happening?
Mm-hmm.
And the sub question for that, for me, is this kind of boards trying to act as CEOs and just bring in people who are like proxies for them? Um, anyway, so there's a lot going on there. I want to start off because I haven't been doing this as well as I should be lately. We got to start off with what we're about, the toots and the boots. So when you're hearing and seeing all these stats about CEO turnover, rise of interim CEOs, decline of women CEOs, was there anything that particularly surfaced for you where you were like, this is toot worthy or boot worthy?
I mean, I got a lot of boots.
Yeah. Give them to me.
Just boots everywhere. Okay.
It's boot weather. It's
Okay.
fall. It's boot weather.
This is a thigh-high boot that I'm about to give. So no, so I'm working with a client right now and they're on their like third CEO in a very short period of time. And so I'm seeing this in real life. And I think this whole like interim leadership is just basically a rebrand for like being like you're like gaslighting employees. Like you really are making them believe one thing and then you get a new CEO and they change the whole thing. So it's really just temporary scapegoating. Like you really are just like moving the goalposts every time a new CEO comes. And I just have to give that the boot because that like everybody wants stability. And I know in this day and age, that's like oh, you can't expect that. But why not? Like, why can't you expect stability with the place that you work? So I definitely think this whole like rebrand of like gig economy for CEOs, like there are some roles that don't need to be a gig. Like, like that's just like let's just call that out. And I also think it just shifts the blame because the like someone comes in, they destroy it, they do whatever they want, they get their nice severance, golden handcuffs, and then they leave. And then the next person comes and does the same thing.
Yeah.
And the employees that are there are left with it all.
Yeah. And those CEOs are never having to deal with the consequences of whatever they came in and did. Yeah.
No, I like the way you brought it into scapegoating also, Jessica, because I think that's a big thing that I've seen is either the CEO gets to a point where they're like, I don't need this job. I'm rich enough, or I can take some time off. Or my favorite is when they're like, being a CEO is like too much work. I'm just gonna go be an angel investor.
Yeah.
It's like, how
they
nice
love to be an
for
investor,
you.
honey.
How nice for you. But when it's not their choice like that, or they're not leading that charge, often I'm finding it's coming from the board who doesn't really understand the organizational issues that are causing poor performance. And so they're like, well, we'll just chop off the head. We'll get a new CEO who comes in. Sometimes this comes around layoffs or poor revenue or whatever, the business indicators are. But I feel like I'm just bringing up our friend Natalie Ledbetter constantly right now. I'm like, as Natalie says, like those organization problems are people problems. If your sales are bad, it's not usually because of the CEO. It's usually because of some structural issue or org chart issue or training issue or wrong people in wrong roles issue. Like most of the problems that companies are having when they fire the CEO are they're not always the CEO's fault, or something that like firing the CEO alone is not going to fix. It's like,
Yeah.
I think if you're going to fire the CEO because the company's not doing well, like, fine, I'm not here to be like CEOs must keep their jobs.
Mhm.
But like, you have to do this as part of like a thorough leadership audit, and like do a 360 of your leadership team, see where the problems are. Maybe the problem is the CEO, maybe your CEO
Yeah.
sucks and they need to go. But like, cutting off the head does not solve the problems with the body. Then it just kills you. This is a
Yeah.
terrible metaphor. Um,
But it's true.
I don't
It's
like this,
so true.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like, well, let's blame it on this visible person
Yeah.
who's making the public statements that, as a ghostwriter, I can tell you they are not even writing
Yeah,
themselves.
for sure.
Like, so being that CEO, you're like, you're going out there taking the blame for all the company's problems and then getting fired for it. And then the company's not actually investing in fixing those issues.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the time, much of the time. I have a
Yeah.
couple of clients that I've worked with who are doing it right. They're like, this CEO
Mhm.
got us here. They're not going to get us there. We all agree, the CEO included, that they're not the right person to lead the next phase.
Mhm.
Let's do a peaceful transition and also look at like, how is our org functioning? Do we have the right people in the right jobs? Is our marketing leader and our sales leader and our HR leader, are all these people still the right people for those jobs? Like, do we have what we need on our team to get to the next phase? Um, but based on my reading of that research, uh, that you mentioned at the top of the pod,
Top of the hour.
at the top of the hour, at the top of the podcast, um, it doesn't feel like the trend is reflecting an like multi-industry hard look in the mirror. Let's really fix our organizations. I
Yeah.
don't
LOL,
like
no.
that's yeah, like that's
That's not what
not
it's
what's
giving.
happening. It's
That's
not what
not,
it's
it's not
giving.
giving.
It's not giving
It
thoughtful
is
look in the
not
mirror.
giving that.
And when I like, one of my biggest boots that came out of that article, I keep calling it the Christmas article because that's
Yeah.
the name that I remember from the list of people. Sorry, organization, I'm sure you're great. But that article, there was a line in it that said the most common reason given for departing was no reason given,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like in their survey results. And like, I mean, as a comms person, that like breaks my heart, but also just looking at what impact does that have on your employees. You were
Yeah,
saying, Jessica, like, it impacts your team when they see this
absolutely.
like frequent turnover,
Yeah.
and when they see an executive leave and they don't really understand why or how the business is being set up for success in their absence. Like, it's just, it does not help your engagement, it does not help your retention, which does not help your
Mhm.
productivity and your revenue. And
Yeah.
that's what you care about.
Leading a growing business, it's like building a plane while flying it. Team building, decision making, and scaling all at once. At CPO Playbook, we get it. That's why our podcast, ranked in the top 10% worldwide, tackles the toughest leadership challenges with insights to help you lead smarter and grow faster. Tune into the CPO Playbook podcast because leadership doesn't come with a manual, but we're pretty close.
I do want to say though, like flip side to this, I have one little toot that I want to say.
Mm.
In the article, and like even what you said, you're talking about like the glass cliff, and there's a lot of statistics behind this. Happens a lot to Black women, like they
Mm-hmm.
get in these roles and they get put in these roles. So I want to just shout them out and be like, when they're like, F this, I'm out. Toot you,
Mm-hmm.
girl, come on out of here.
Yes,
Know that you're
for
being set
real.
up to fail. Get
For
the hell
real.
out of there. So I'm tooting that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you guys also, I feel like we're in this area now that like, I hate the DEI in my heart hates it, but like every time I see a Black woman announced as a CEO, I'm like a little scared
Yeah.
because I'm like, what did they
I
set her
normally
up
go
for?
look it up, like where it's the
Yeah,
state of the company.
same.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so shitty that that's
Yeah.
where it goes, like, oh God, who's trying to screw her over,
Yeah.
instead of like championing success. But it's like, we know how busted the industry is. We
Yeah.
know that it's not like we want to elevate great talent into
No.
leadership. And it's like, no, we want a convenient person to blame. And just like Jessica, for those listening to multiple HR podcasts, Jessica was just on my podcast this week, HR Confessions, and we were talking about this very issue of like promoting a woman into a role so that she will fail. And in this
And
case
then
of the
get her out.
podcast episode, we were talking about coming back from parental leave. And then the companies use that data to be like, well, moms don't make good employees because this
Yeah.
person came back from leave and they failed. And
Mm.
it's the same thing with
Yeah.
women CEOs, with people of color in CEO roles. Like you bring them in and they fail, and then you can say, well, like we
Yeah,
told
it
you,
didn't
black
work
women don't
out.
make good CEOs.
Yeah,
Like,
they weren't the right culture fit. So,
right.
no, for those women that realized what
It's
it was
bullshit.
and got the hell out of there and got their package, Toot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Toot for you. Get what you deserve.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the area, and we might not have like very clear ideas of what exactly, because these are, 1,000 plus companies. We don't know what's going on inside of them. But that's kind of what I wanted to dig into a little bit more, is like what's going on behind the scenes, because we know as HR people, yeah, no reason given or quote volunteering to
Mhm.
step down end quote
Yes.
could mean any number of things. And
Right.
like generally there's some kind of dirt or chaos or something
Mm-hmm.
under there that's causing that. So I wanted to kind of, especially Kim, since you are this ghostwriter and you've been doing some of this too, like
Yes.
tell us the secrets. What
Well,
I want
what's
to
so
know what's
funny
going on
is
behind
like,
the scenes.
so like I've been ghostwriting for executives for the last 20 years as part of my job as an administrative assistant, as an office manager, an HR person, as a VP of people, as an employee experience. Like in every job I've had, I've become the go-to executive ghostwriter person, which is great because I love to do it. Um, and I have written things and worked with executives who are in the category of they're volunteering to leave, but they're definitely not choosing to leave, right? And
Mhm.
a lot of times, a lot of times our role in HR is about trying to get a leader to see something that we know is the right answer and trying to like help them uncover that that's the answer for themselves. And so I do believe that for many of these CEO cases, like it's very possible that by the time they're exiting, they think it was their idea. Um, I have done that. I have seen that happen where you're like, we know that this CEO is not working out, and we need to work together to help them see that so that it's not contentious and so that they can be a supportive part of the transition. But weirdly, like since I've gone freelance, since I've been working for my own consulting business, the number of clients that I work with that are specifically CEOs leaving the companies they founded, like that is a niche that I have discovered. And, people talk and then they refer me to other people. Um, but it's a very specific type of CEO exit when you are also a founder.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of different ones in the last few months where, um, in one case, it was someone who they definitely wanted to leave, but there was contentious stuff going on their team. So like it wasn't pleasant. I have one where it was not their choice to leave, and the board had to get them to kind of come around to seeing that it was the right decision. And I just think every situation is so unique. But the common thread that I have found is that when it is someone who is a CEO and founder, they deeply, deeply care about the message that they're sending on their way out because it's their baby. It's their, like, they are the founder. They're not just an exec who was brought in and then let go. Like, so there's this almost like psychological
Yeah.
um, communications therapy you have to do with them to be like, how do you feel? What is the message you want to get across? Let's like dump out all your thoughts and feelings. If you could say everything that's on your mind, and now let's like work that back into a public statement that feels true to you, but is also like a professional CEO communication. What
Yeah,
is it that
which
you want to
makes
say to people? How do you want to reflect your journey? And I
Yeah,
think,
I mean that makes a lot of sense because that is part of their legacy in ways that
yeah,
other people who are coming in not and leaving, it's not part of their legacy. So that
yeah,
does make, a lot more
it's
sense.
given me hope that there are CEOs out there who care deeply about communicating the right message, and that their exit, whether they are choosing it or not, won't adversely affect their company. Like that gives me hope, at least. That's why I love working with the clients that I work with. I'm like, you want to do the right thing. Your heart's in the right place. You just don't exactly know what words you want to use. And that's where I come in. But like if people are I don't see as many CEOs who are just like, peace out, leave no trail behind me. I see that more happening at large corporations where it's probably more like the board voted you out. You're not the
Yep.
CEO anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I think that kind of ties into one of the earlier questions I had, something Jessica had said as well, and also just thinking more broadly about this environment we're in, where, the administration comes in and basically has a list of every leader who isn't a white man, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and it starts, taking them out of their positions,
Yep.
removing them.
Yes.
And so I think when I'm thinking about all of this, I'm thinking about the data that they had about fewer women are becoming CEOs, more are leaving the role. Like, what does that look like for the future of near term or even longer term, the future of leadership when we have fewer and fewer
Yeah.
women, people of color who are in these roles or being set up for success within these roles. And we're in really tough economic and political climate right now. What does that look like? I mean,
It's
I kind of
detrimental for sure.
Is there hope for the future?
Yeah, I'm like, I think it's one of the things that I will say early in my career. I remember I had never met a woman of color that was a chief people officer.
Mhm.
And I like legit would like seek them out. Like it was, I was years into my career before I met one. And I remember thinking like, oh, okay, so there is one, like it is possible for me to get to this role. But when I first started in HR, I legit thought that just won't happen for me because I don't know anybody had gotten to that level. So I think that now that the pendulum is swinging back, there are some people that are going to feel that same way, that like,
Yeah.
can I get to that level? And if so, is it going to be because I'm like filling in to be set up to fail, or because they want me here to do something great? So having that feeling also is of itself. Like I have worked in places where I was the head of HR and I was the only Black person in the whole company. And so I would sit and think, did they hire me because they are like wanting to like show face that like, look, the Black person is the head of HR, or do they believe in what I'm doing? And to even have to do that mental gymnastics is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so that alone sets you up to feel like you have to second guess, you have to think, for basic things in the job. So that's not a good feeling on one end, to be in the job and to feel that way. And then if you are starting your career or whatever transition you're in, to see that. And then I've recently read a lot of statistics about how the next generation doesn't even want to be in leadership anymore. Like they don't want anything to do with that. They're like, no, you can have that. I want to be an IC. I want to do my job. I want to peace out. And so we're about to be in a situation where people don't even want to be leaders. They don't see anyone in leadership that looks like them. What does that mean? It means it's going to be a shit show.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like leadership is this compelling
It is
thing.
not.
Like I don't I mean, I don't particularly want to be a leader, a manager. I don't say leader. Like I like being a leader, but like capital L leader, like VP in charge of a whole bunch of stuff I have no control over. Not being paid that much more than I would as an IC at the same level somewhere else. Like show me why I should why I should want this.
Yeah.
Like
It's not, we're not selling leadership as something that
no,
people should want in the next generation.
no. And like you said, like there's the phrase, you can't be what you can't see. And if people don't see it, they're not going to believe that it's possible for them.
Yeah.
And if they don't see something that looks appealing, they're not going to even want it to be possible for them.
Exactly.
And what are we doing to make leadership seem like a good option? Especially when you look at, I mean, every company I look at when I'm looking at a client to work with or looking like applying for a full-time role somewhere, I look at their leadership team and it's like, is everybody white? Is everybody a man? Is the only non-white man their head of HR? And marketing.
Well,
Usually it's like HR and like maybe marketing.
yep.
And if that is the case, I will ask about it because I have had a long enough career at this point that I feel like I'm justified in asking that.
Yeah.
And I did have a company that responded to me saying like, hey, I was just wondering, I noticed that of your executive team, there's no people of color and that I would be the first woman on the team as the head of people. Like, can you talk to me a little bit about that and how the company's approaching diversity? And their response was that I probably wasn't going to be a good culture fit for the organization. And I was like,
And they were probably right,
well,
girl. They
you
were
are
like, you
probably
asked so
right.
many damn questions, not up in
Right.
here.
Like, why would that matter? Why do you care? We don't see gender. We don't see race.
We don't see color here.
No.
Surprise, surprise, I like my color.
We don't see color because it's just all white. There's no color to see.
Oh God. I mean,
Like,
kind of
no.
the point of everything that y'all are saying too is, I mean, for me, and I'm imagining for some people earlier in their careers too, you look at things like that and it's like, I don't want to work that hard to have people
Right.
listen to me and respect me and, forget
I've
about
done
it.
it and it never worked out. Okay.
No.
Not one time.
No.
Yeah.
I will say
No,
on
it
the
doesn't.
flip side of that terrible experience, I just spoke with a company recently as the headhunter for a company, and he was like, "You're gonna love this CEO because you won't need to convince him that people stuff matters. Like he is bought into the vision, he's bought into the idea. He wants someone who can like do all the things that he thinks are important and more." And I was like, I don't think I've ever had a headhunter tell me that before.
Yeah. That's
I
rare.
mean, I think I've had people tell me that, but I'm like, show me the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Let's see some proof.
Right. And that's the kind of stuff you have to ask as
Yeah.
a person going into a leadership role. Those are the kinds of questions you have to ask, and the company frankly should be expecting you to ask. I think that's where I've seen this in leadership transitions where you're exiting one leader and bringing the next one in, and the new person comes in and gets sort of admonished for asking tough questions about like, well, why is it going this way? Why is it going this way? I had a company where they weren't exiting a leader. They just realized like their director level person wasn't going to be senior enough. So they had to hire someone above them. And the new person came in and it was an engineering team. And the first thing they did was analyze all the code. And they're like, well, why is it like this? Why aren't we shipping faster? Why aren't we doing this? And they were like poking at all these hard questions that I would expect a VP of engineering to be asking. And I was asked to kind of rein them in and be like, why are you rocking the boat? Right. It's like, no. We hired this person because we didn't have what we needed, because things weren't working. They're asking all the right questions. We might not like the answers, but they're asking the right questions. And so I was like, I'm going to wrap my arms around this person and protect them at all costs because I believe that they are correct in what they are asking about. And like, if you want to kick us both out, kick us both out. But like, oh yeah, no. The CEO was a man. The new VP of engineering was a woman.
Exactly. That was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not surprising, right? Yeah. And I was at this point, I was like fed up with enough corporate rage that I was like, you did not hire me to sit back and do nothing. You hired me for a reason, and I'm going to do that job. And if you don't like it, you can fire me. Yeah. But I'm not going to do a bad job. I'm not going to do an inequitable job. And I'm not going to get in the way of this brilliant new leader doing the job she was hired to do.
Yep. So I want to kind of follow that thread a little bit as we're thinking about, okay, churn at the top with CEOs. Maybe that means more women leaving these roles. Maybe that means more interim CEOs, which either way is a massive change within the company. It is a big ripple effect for the employees. What does that then do to that organization and that organization's culture to have that kind of continual change?
Everybody knows that people thrive in instability and uncertainty.
Okay,
that's how humans do their best work.
Yeah.
People love feeling scared and uncertain and confused.
Oh my God. When you're scared is when you produce the best work.
That's right. That's
what I've always said.
I hope you're listening and realizing this is satire. Okay, people.
Let's just take Maslow's hierarchy of needs and flip it upside down.
Yeah. Like if you're scared for your job and to feed your family, you're going to do great. But in all seriousness, you can't build a culture in like 12 to 18 month cycles with new leaders rotating through like that. Right. That is not real. Like you cannot do that, especially in bigger companies when you have so much red tape anyway. So not only are you not able to like move the ship quickly, and then a new person comes in and changes everything that you know. So the ripple effect, to our point, is fear, it's instability, it's high turnover. So you're going to have people leaving left and right because they realize, well, if the leader's not going to stay here, like I tell people all the time when I'm coaching them, if your HR leaves, start looking around. Because so it's about to get shaky, baby.
Yeah. Well,
and I
there's
feel the same way about the CEO.
whenever you get a new CEO in, there's two things that I think cause these kind of major panic ripples with employees. One is that usually they come in and there's a change to OKRs, KPIs, whatever like metrics you're using, but they change the goalposts. And sometimes that's for the better, where they realize like our goalposts were wrong and bad, and now these ones are better for whatever reason. But regardless, you have employees who've been working up to a certain point with certain goals, certain destinations on their map in mind. And then someone comes in and is like, well, actually, instead of doing that, you're going to do this because this is what matters. And that's again where like, what is the story you're telling people? How are you communicating it to them so that they come along for the ride and they don't feel like you're just jerking them back and forth? And then the other thing is you mentioned with culture and the stability of culture. I think people don't realize how important that is, and they're just like, either the new CEO comes in and they're going to bring in a whole new culture with them, and that's something the organization needs, and that can be
also
or a new team.
Yeah,
and that can be
yeah.
that can be intentional, and that
Yep.
can be really useful if you're like, we are a company that values, I don't know, relaxation, and that's not helping us meet our goals. We're bringing in a new team that's focused on rigor. This is a new company value. Here's what it looks like. Here's why it matters. Like, but that shit's not happening most of the time. Or you bring in a CEO and like they don't even make sure that their values aligned at all. And so they come in and they like, it's an afterthought. And then people are like, we have this new CEO who's telling us XYZ, and that feels really out of line with our values, but I guess the values just don't matter anymore. So all of it, again, it's like, what are you doing? What is the plan? How are you telling people about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much can be saved by just like telling people, right, they can't keep up.
You can't keep up.
And then if it happens more than once in like an 18-month time frame, then people feel like they can't even trust it at all. If you've got like one leadership turnover, it's like this person's exiting after a long time, this person's going to be stepping up to take their place. This is the new future of the company, fine. But like you said, like your client who had 3 CEOs in a short time period, like employees don't know what to expect. They don't know what they're trying to do. I mean, in this economy, people are probably just like, how long can I keep getting a paycheck for?
Yeah.
But then their performance is going to suffer, right? They're going to drop their engagement. They're not going to be super engaged. They're not going to be caring about the work they're doing. So they're going to do work that's less good. Like,
yeah.
What are your goals as a company with bringing in a new CEO? And are you doing anything to support those goals?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I thought was interesting, especially because, we all know folks who are, and I think, well, Kim, you said you are also fractional. We know a lot of folks who do fractional HR, and this idea of, okay, CEO gig economy, bring in fractional CEO, right? And I think that, Jessica, to your point, like maybe there are certain roles that really can't be that way. They really can't be, gig or interim. And I'm wondering too, just with all of the things going on in the economy, if we think about kind of this thread where companies expect like loyalty from their employees, and they expect their employees to, all of these things. Yeah, I know. Jessica's already like laughing.
Loyalty? Who is that?
Right. Well, and then in the meantime, they don't have employment stability if they're not even necessarily seeing stability at the top. I guess my question is, what do you think is reasonable from an employee perspective to even like, as they're coming into work, what should they be expecting in this environment that we're in?
Unfortunately, I mean, my realist answer is chaos. Like it's just chaos at the top, which leads to chaos everywhere else in the organization. If like, I'm just going to use the same example of this company that has had 3 CEOs. Their turnover rate is horrible. And it was after the second transition. So the second CEO to the third CEO is when everybody was like, oh, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not doing this again.
Fool me once.
Exactly. And so you can't have instability at the top, and then people think people are going to stay loyal. However, to Kim's point, in this economy, people, you can't just leave and think you're going to find another job magically. Like, so many people are laid off right now. So a lot of people are staying, but they're very clear on, I'm coming, I'm doing the minimum, I'm going to keep this job, but I don't believe in the mission anymore, but I'm going to do the job. And that's what you're going to get.
Yep. And I think I want to explore a little bit the idea of what is a fractional CEO and like what is a gig economy CEO, because I think there is a world where I can envision that working, which is it's a company that has a really strong leadership team with like a strong COO. Maybe there's like a president or like a strong operational leadership and a CEO who's working fractionally to provide like directional stability and industry expertise or things like that, where I've had CEOs where I have had to try to convince them that they need to step back from a bunch of their stuff as a CEO. And I'm like, listen, your job as CEO could be 60% traveling the world as an evangelist for the brand and the company. And these are like founder CEOs. And so they're more into that kind of thing often. But like CEO can be defined in so many ways. It is a job, much like a head of people job, that like means different things to different people. And so like, what are the CEO's actual responsibilities? How close are they to the work? Like, it's not like you don't need a CEO, but do you need a CEO who's there full time, ever present all the time? It depends on what your company's doing. It depends on how good the rest of your leadership team is.
Yeah. I'm going to throw something out there, and don't hate me for this, but I recently read an article that was talking about, like, do you need a CEO? Can AI be your CEO if you have a strong leadership team?
You know what?
I'm gonna just throw it out there.
Can AI be your
I think I
CEO?
saw that also after enduring all of the articles and all of the little podcasts from, billionaires about I don't even need HR. I just have a legal team. Great.
Like, they
I
can
don't
go
even
now. We need to do a podcast about them. They can go.
I don't even need a CEO. Bye.
I'll just have my AI agent trained on the best
What's the
CEOs in
direction?
history. Can you, based on all my confidential company financials, can you please produce a roadmap for our strategic vision?
Yeah. So,
Oh,
I mean, it might be better, to be honest.
truly, you have me thinking, Jessica.
I'm just saying.
Oh my God. What a mess.
If
What
they
a
don't
mess
need
we're
us, we
in.
don't need them.
Right?
I know.
That's why my intro said burn it all down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, truly though, we are hitting a breaking point of some sort, I think,
Oh yeah, for sure.
in the world, in this country, that like something needs to change.
Absolutely.
The way that we have built work, the way that we have built our our patriarchal capitalist society needs to change. No one's ever heard anyone say that before. But like, I am in my burn it down era as well, Jessica. I think it's like it's a thing you go through at a certain age where you're like, you know what? This system is fucked actually.
Not working.
And it's not working. And it was built by a specific type of person for a specific type of person. And I don't know, historically, white men have not been so great for the world. Like, maybe it's time to give someone else an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would build the world differently.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be president.
It's an interesting, I feel like, yeah, to your point, and this is going to be a little bit of a tangent, I guess, but it is when you step back and look at everything that's going on and you see even, I think this is why I wanted to talk about it, because it's like even the CEOs are like, skirt, I'm out. Like, I'm not trying to deal with this economy and this job market and all of the changes. They're just like, no, I'm going to opt out because I don't want to have to deal with what's coming. And I think, what's coming is maybe it is more people unionizing because they want to try to actually get, working wages, right? It is people, pushing for legislation because we need to have childcare. It is all of these different things that I think are kind of on the horizon. And it is a very, Yeah, I think it is a very interesting time. But it's also crazy to me at the same time you see all of these like layoffs that there is this resurgence of the whole 996
Yeah.
work
Gross.
ethic or whatever that they're trying to push
Gross.
where they're expecting people. And I saw a post on LinkedIn and I swear I was like, don't engage. Like, don't do it. Because it was just like, well, if people just love working that much, like maybe
Yeah.
you can't relate to it because you haven't felt that kind of passion. I was like, no, I have not
Mm-mm.
felt that kind of passion for
That
anything
is
in
some
my life.
gaslighty bullshit.
Like
No.
and it was, written by a VC, and I was like,
What?
of
Get
course
away.
you
Get away.
Oh,
posted this.
oh, tell
But
me more
like,
about how the like 23-year-old white boys that you're investing in are so passionate about their companies that they're all willing to sleep in closets in their offices. Like
no,
that might be
and
true, but how much of that is because they were conditioned to want to thrive in those conditions and believe that that's the way to be successful? And like we as a society have to unlearn a lot of bullshit.
yeah. Well, and I also
I'm so mad.
I got a news alert and opened my, Washington Post app, and there is a big thing at the top that is about Snap and about Snap funding. And right under that, Elon to become our
A
first trillionaire.
trillionaire. Yep.
And
Talk
I
about
was
that
like,
today.
the juxtaposition
Yeah.
of these two things. And as we're thinking about, CEOs and the people who are leading at the same time that we're talking about living wages and things like that, like the gap between that is and thinking about how much more out of touch it seems like some of those folks grow by the day.
You
Hmm.
can't
Also,
eat
it
a
also makes me
mission.
wonder
Like,
if you have people in those kinds of positions of leadership who
mhm.
truly don't understand their
Right,
employees,
right.
and it's there's no diversity up in those positions either. I don't, yeah,
Mm-mm.
I don't, it's fascinating to me. It's like from a psychological perspective and
Oh yeah.
sociological, I want to like step back and look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I can't though, because I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm a part of it. I
No,
can't
it
step away from it.
absolutely feels that I've seen both of those headlines and it is crazy to think about. But to your point, if the CEO of a business is thinking that they want to be a trillionaire or whatever number they come up with, and your employees can't eat, and you
Right,
think there's going to be loyalty, there
right,
make it make sense.
right. And when like this is where mission-driven companies can get into a lot of trouble because they expect that people are going to want to work because of their passion for the mission and the passion for their work. And frankly, people do. People, especially younger employees who don't have maybe as many familial obligations or caregiving obligations, or maybe they, you know, just graduated from college and they're looking to recreate that kind of community vibe. Like people will give so much of themselves to work because they believe in the mission and they think they're doing something really important. And that doesn't mean we should take advantage of it. It's
Yeah.
like, it's so, you're exploiting people's passion for your own profit.
Yeah. And
Like,
it's not sustainable. I want to say that most of
right.
my clients
No.
are ex social workers. So I
Hmm.
don't know how the social workers found me, but they love me. And they have like flooded my website.
I
And it's
love
literally
this.
like they all want to get out of social work because to your point, they are so burned out and like
Yeah.
emotionally tired. And
Yeah.
it is not sustainable.
Yeah.
No, because I think like if you're working for a mission-driven org and you're like people will work 996 because they're so passionate about the work that they're doing. Okay, well then pay them
Hmm.
to like pay them, compensate them for their passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine, like
Yeah.
fine. Like yeah,
Exactly. Well,
you're gonna work overtime, you're gonna like work all these hours because you love your job so much and you don't need work-life balance, whatever. Fine. Pay
pay
me
them
for
for
it.
it.
Like
Yeah.
pay these
That,
people.
that's true. Because the thing, of course, that was not in this post that this VC was not saying was look at all of the free labor that we're getting from these
Exactly.
people who will
Exactly.
work
We're
these
exploiting their
hours.
passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Oh,
fucked. It's so
yeah.
fucked. And a lot of time it's people who can't leave.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have a
Like don't even
safety
listen.
net.
Like we
Yeah.
can't even go down the path of like they can't leave because their healthcare is tied to this job or their
Oh,
immigration status is tied to this job.
yeah.
Their
Yeah.
ability to buy food is tied to having this job. Like and then they're in a culture that's like we love how passionate our employees are. They all work 6 days a week and don't
It's
complain about
passionately
it.
hate. It's
Yeah.
hate.
It's desperation.
Yeah.
They're prisoners. Like, this is so fucked.
Uh,
Happy Friday, everyone.
yes, this is how we are wrapping up our Fridays. We're just going down the rabbit hole of
I gotta go do something cleansing.
I know I feel in myself that I'm going to go find this LinkedIn post and rage comment
Do
on
it.
it. But
Tag me.
I mean, yeah. We'll both jump in and support you
I
so that
got
you
you.
don't get
I
piled on
got
alone.
you.
oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you both so much. I appreciate that you joined and brought all this energy and fun to like a not particularly fun
Yeah.
topic. Let's
I
be
feel like we
real.
need to end on some sort of like, if you're as mad as we are, here's something you can do.
Uh, go
But
rage comment on this LinkedIn
yeah,
post.
Yeah.
honestly though, like I just wrote about this on my Substack this week, and I feel like I've been saying it a lot, but like we all have to do something.
Yeah.
You might not be able to publicly go out there and start shit because you might not have that privilege. You might not be able to go protest. You might not be able to donate money. Like, but there is always something you can do, whether
Yeah.
it's in your own company, on your own team, in your local community. Like, channel your rage and like just do something,
Yeah.
however small.
It can make a big impact. So I will
Yeah.
second what you're saying and saying that something that my husband and I have done is we're highly, highly supporting our local Las Vegas food bank because
Hmm.
there are so many people here in Vegas that are going to go hungry. And so, yeah, that's how I'm channeling my rage.
Yeah, I did. That was my task for myself yesterday was find the local food bank and donate to them, which I also did because I know in Arizona there's not the same kind of support, in
Hmm.
state and local that there is in others. So, yeah, we will put that vibe out to end with.
Yes.
Oh, and so, as we wrap up, I want to also give you each, an opportunity to tell people where they can follow you. If there's, a newsletter sign up for a book to buy, like let's put all of that out there. Jessica, let's start with you.
Yeah, so find me on LinkedIn. I literally post every day, multiple times a day, depending on my level of rage. And then if you want to support my children, I have 4 of them. Please do. You can buy my book, which is on Amazon. It's called The Hidden Gem Within.
Yes.
Thank
Support our children,
Yeah,
please.
support my children.
You can also find me on LinkedIn. I also post almost every day, sometimes multiple times a day, depending on my level of rage. Same, Jessica. Um, and my website is patchworkportfolio.com. You can sign up for updates there. You can sign up for my Substack there. All my shit is there.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining.
Yay. Thanks, Stacey.